Good afternoon, everyone. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series, and we have an incredible show today. We've been able to book Mr. Josh Konigsberg, and Josh is one of the worldwide leaders in helping lawyers and law firms significantly improve their sales and revenue performance. He is the partner and co-founder at Law Firm Marketing Pros. He has many large law firms as well as medium to small large firms under his umbrella, and he specializes in helping law firms significantly and dramatically improve their sales, revenue, and ROI. So Josh, it's a delight to have you on the show today.
Andy, I really appreciate the invitation. Look forward to talking to you.
This is awesome. And, you know, on the show, we always talk about specialists and we always talk about people that specialize in a certain vertical. At the Law Firm Marketing Group Pros, you've really been able to do that with your background and experience. You're helping so many law firms with their practices. The case studies are incredible. Josh, let's pull the lens back just a little bit and tell us about the Law Firm Marketing Pros.
So after about 10 years of being in the digital marketing space, what we've done is we figured out what works and what doesn't. We had tremendous success in the law market, in the legal market, helping law firms of every different type of specialty. So ultimately what happened is we realized if we focused on in the legal market, we could really develop a holistic approach to digital marketing. So it's not one thing or two things, it's a holistic approach to marketing online, so all digital marketing, right? And with that in mind, we created a system, because the number one reason all law firms struggle to achieve phenomenal success, and in some cases even just survive, because they all live off a period of episodic income events called retainers or settlements, right? So what happens is their income and revenue stream looks like an EKG machine when it should look like this. So we developed something called the Law Firm Client Generation System. And that's because they all lack a good marketing system. Andy, let me ask you a quick question. How many hours do you think a lawyer spends in law school studying marketing?
Maybe zero.
That's the right number. So so what happens is they get in business, some are better than others, right? And they throw a bunch of stuff against the wall to see what sticks, okay? And if something seems to stick, they kind of throw more money at it, but they don't even really know how to measure and track and get a proper level of attribution. And with things being digital, we can actually get to a really good level, deep level of attribution and actually try to in most cases, close the loop. So they know what's working, what's not, where to invest more.
See, I love this, Josh. This is so important because lawyers, attorneys, when they go through law school, they're learning about the law. When they go into practice, they have blindfolds on with regard to how do they generate customers, how do they generate leads, how do they generate potential clients. And this is where the Law Firm Marketing Pro steps in, so that the attorneys don't have to worry about something that they're not an expert in. They get to be concerned about their clients, about their law firm, about their court dates, about the papers they have to write. You handle everything for the attorney so they don't have to do it. It really is a remarkable thing that you've been able to do to specialize in these law firms. Now, prior to coming on the show, you mentioned a law firm that is just getting amazing ROI. Of course, we don't want to mention the law firm's name, but you have some law firms that are really knocking the cover off the ball, not only with the Law Firm Marketing Pros, but also, of course, helping their clients that get delivered from the Law Firm Marketing Pro system. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so what you're really talking about is impact, and the impact that we can have on not only the law firm, but the impact that we have with all of their staff members, associate attorneys, and all the paralegals and the support staff, as well as the impact that they're having on the lives of their clients. And then it becomes really interesting. It actually becomes viral. We're seeing, on average, somewhere around 800% ROI on the marketing investment. The worst case scenario client is at about 400%. We have some as high as 1,200%. And it seems that one of the beautiful things about our law firm's client generation system is this: it's modular. So if I'm dealing with a solo practitioner who doesn't have a big budget, we can start them with fewer pieces of it, focus on what matters most, meaning what's most cost effective right now, versus a larger firm that might have 20 attorneys and they can afford to do the entire program. They actually get a greater ROI. So it seems that the more they spend, it's not seems, in fact, the more they spend, the greater the ROI.
Yeah, I love that. So with the law firm marketing pros, you've been able to put together modules for different types of law firms, different sizes of law firms, and that makes all the sense in the world, whether they're a sole practitioner, a small partnership, or a large burgeoning law firm, a nationwide footprint, perhaps international footprint. You're able to help them with the law firm marketing pro system. Josh, let's talk a little bit about what happens, because there's going to be some attorneys watching the show. They want more clients. They want to help as many people as they can in their specific industry and their specific specialty. And they're saying to themselves, I know from the ROI I'm hearing, whether it's 400 or 16 or 1400%, that this is going to be a great investment with this company. How do the leads come across to the law firms? Do they come by email? Do they get a phone call? How do you direct those leads for these particular law firms?
So the lead generation is going to be coming from multiple avenues, and we can track it. So they might be on your website. They might get to your website, whether that be a traditional form of marketing, which we're not going to take credit for, but they might fill out a lead generation form. We all think of those as questionnaires on a website, but they're really lead gen forms. Most attorneys have a live chat function. And they're going to get leads through the live chat function, something like an Engage Live or something like that. And then they're going to get, obviously, the phone calls. And we use a piece of software, an API called CallRail, which gives us an incredible level of attribution, whether that's coming in from a Google paid ad, or whether that's from an SEO or Google My Business listing, a map, or even Facebook ads and social media. We can track those as well.
I love it. Now, you are the author of the Ultimate Digital Marketing Guide for Law Firms that's available on Amazon. For anybody that's interested, I highly suggest you go to Amazon and check the book out by Mr. Konigsberg. But Josh, let me ask you this question, because when a lead gets delivered, not by a phone call, but by some other lead delivery method, let's just say by email, how important is the speed to get back to that client? Is that really the thing that makes the law firm win? And let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, obviously, in today's world, we all live on our phones, and we don't have a lot of patience. And just to give you a reference, the average consumer will hit the back button or bounce off of a website in somewhere between 2.5 and 3 seconds. So they're in. If it doesn't load, I'm out. Right? If I get to your website and I can't figure out where I'm going because the navigation isn't what I'm used to seeing, which is called a convention, because whoever designed the website was a graphic artist and they wanted to be cute, I'm going to bail. I can't figure out where I'm going. We're all 1 millisecond away from cognitive overload, right? All of us as consumers, because we're bombarded. So to get back to answering the question, how long do you want to wait as a consumer to get a response on whatever it is that you're looking for, whatever stage you are in the buying cycle? And time is of the essence. You got to get right back to them. And again, we see lead generation forms, which are coming in via email. So a lead gen form's filled out online. They might come in at 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, right? So you have to have an autoresponder set up so they know, thank you, we received your email. Someone will be in touch with you during normal business hours.
That makes all the sense in the world. Now, Josh, when someone hires you for their law firm, and let's say they have a specialty in criminal defense, let's talk through a little bit. How do you make sure that they only get the right types of leads? They only want the criminal defense leads, but they don't want the customers that maybe, have a mesothelioma problem. So how do we handle that at the law firm marketing pros?
Yeah, so mesothelioma is going to be a mass tort. That's a whole different animal. We don't want to go there. So for criminal defense, family law, personal injury, immigration, whatever, we're going to focus. It's all keyword driven. So the keywords that we're focusing on, we're going to make sure that there's a recordable search volume in a given market for keywords. So when we do our SEO, our search engine optimization, we're going to optimize certain pages for certain keywords. So criminal defense, that might be a white collar crime. It could be a DUI. It could be assault and battery. It could be a robbery, right? There might be 50 different pages, one for each different type of offense that the criminal can, when the criminal doesn't convict, when they commit a crime, right? So sorry. So what happens is, from an SEO standpoint, we're optimizing, so we're getting found for those keywords. PPC, same thing. So when someone searches for criminal defense attorney near me or sex offender attorney near me, whatever they're typing into their keyword searches, that's what's going to populate on the search result. And that's how we minimize what we're going to call either negative keywords, or we try to minimize those tire kickers as well. But one of the things that we all get, it doesn't matter what you're marketing, the more visibility you have, the more you're seen, the more calls you're going to get that you may or may not want. As I like to say, listen, you might get a call from Michael Scott at Dunder Mifflin trying to sell you copy paper, right?
Yeah, I love it, Josh. I love it. That makes all the sense in the world. Now, when we think about someone contacting the law firm marketing pros, and let's say, I'm thinking on the top of my head, all the law firms that I've engaged with and have hired throughout my 30-year business career. And I also know a lot of sole proprietors as well. When you have contact with a smaller law firm, do you oftentimes see that you have to sort of redo their entire website because it may look pretty, but it's not going to deliver the lead. It's not going to deliver the results. And let's talk about that a little bit, how you go through that process to determine whether the actual website that an attorney has up online is something that's going to work for them by using your law firm marketing pro system.
So one of the things Google wants to see is they want to see the synergy between your on-site optimization, SEO, and off-site. And off-site is 200 different factors 200 plus different factors that Google's looking for. So one of the things that we've learned, and again, one of the beautiful things about this is we've been doing it a long time. We've made all the mistakes. We've done all the heavy liftings as we figured out how this system works. So how can we, as an agency representing you, how can we be accountable for something that we don't control? We can't. So one of the things we're doing now is we are taking control of the website. So even if the website was built 6 months ago, you need a new website, because if we didn't build it, we can't control what's happening in the background, and therefore we can't be responsible for ranking and ultimately conversions. And that's what happens. So the beautiful one other thing is that so we came up with a great concept, and that is how frequently what's the life expectancy of a website? At what rate does a website antiquate? Do you have any idea, Andy?
Gosh, that's a great question. I've never even thought about it. Tell us.
Most people don't think about it, and much to the chagrin of business owners and attorneys or business owners, it's 24 to 36 months. Wow. It antiquates. And so if you want to keep pace with what's going on in Google and have the latest, greatest technology and keep that great image that you want, because oftentimes the first impression that a consumer gets is when they land to your website, you need a new one every 24 to 36 months. So we came up with this great concept. It's called a worry-free website. Every 24 months, our clients get a brand new website.
I love it. I love it. That makes all the sense in the world based on the data. And speaking of data, Josh, with the shows on Netflix and on Amazon Prime, everybody's concerned about their data. Everybody's wondering what's going on behind the scenes with all the data. And I don't want to get too much into the weeds for the people watching or listening on the podcast or watching on YouTube or the .com Magazine portal. But let's think about an attorney watching the show right now. There's so many things that are happening in marketing and digital marketing right now. I like to talk about it, but not really in the weeds. For example, if somebody comes to a law firm's website, I would imagine that maybe you're dropping a cookie on the website so that when that customer goes to, let's say, Facebook, that same law firm's ad shows up and things like that. And that's sort of like some things that are happening behind the scenes. I'm sure law firm marketing pros are doing something like that. But people watching and attorneys that are really focusing on their practice, they don't really know what can be done to really, really harvest these clients and these customers. And that's why they need law firm marketing pros to help them out. Isn't that right?
I'll tell you, Andy, that is a fantastic question. So 5 years ago, when someone went to your website, 50% of the people that went to your website took some type of an action. Today, it's 2%. So if you're getting 100 people to your website and only 2 of them take an action, and an action is going to be that they're filling out a lead gen box, or they're, it's a click to call or an engage, how do you then recapture those people? So that's called retargeting. And so with a very simple piece of code and a properly designed retargeting campaign, we can follow them around the internet. And the beautiful part about that is you don't even have to pay for it until they click on it. So you're in essence following someone around for free until they're ready to get back to you. And listen, every moment of every day, we're inundated. So we get disrupted from our thought process. And all we do is want to keep you, the law firm, top of mind. So oh yeah, I got to get back to that, or my car accident, or, and depending on the type of case it is. So I'll give you a couple examples. Family law, divorce case, it's going to be a protracted decision-making process, and most of the time. Right. So as the marriage gets worse and worse and worse and worse, they eventually take a decision. Versus, let's just use a criminal defense example. My son has been wrongfully arrested. He's in jail. He's halfway across the country. Him and his friends in college went out drinking last night. There was a bar fight, whatever. I've got to get my son out of jail. What am I going to do? Am I going to wait 2 weeks to make that decision? No. I am hiring a criminal defense attorney right now. Go down, bail him out, and whatever it's going to take to get him out of jail. So just keep in mind that different types of law are going to have a different length of buying cycle.
I love it, Josh. And just to simplify again, for some attorneys that this is new to, or they don't even really understand what you can do for them. If somebody comes to their website and they leave the website, if they don't use a company like Law Firm Marketing Pros to make sure that the website is designed right and that the tracking is right and that the data is done right, they're going to lose that potential client forever. However, if you hire the Law Firm Marketing Pros, when that potential client goes to other places, whether it's Facebook or on Twitter or on LinkedIn or YouTube, you follow them around the internet and you use data to know when you should serve them up an ad, if you will, for that particular law firm, so that that law firm that hires you gets more than one bite at the apple. Isn't that sort of the synopsis of what we're talking about?
Yes, that's correct. Couple things I want to say. First of all, because it's digital, it's measurable. Okay, and we all know the saying: "What gets measured gets done." Right. So, with that in mind, I'm going to ask you another question, Andy, and I ask every attorney this, and when I do a digital marketing strategy session with them, and no one has the answer. What's the purpose of your website?
To get a lead.
The purpose of your website, that's close. The purpose of your website is to get the browser or the consumer to take the action or actions you want them to take, period. And the first step in doing that on a website is making sure that they're engaged on your website long enough to take that action, because we all read websites the same way we read magazines or newspapers. We skim them until we find what matches our interest or task at hand. We take a quick second, decide whether we want to continue reading that section or whether we want to move on. And moving on could be diving in deeper to a case type, right? Okay, I'm on a family law firm site, but I've already got divorced, but now I need child custody, so I dive into that page, right? Versus, I'm confused, I don't know what to do, hit the back button, the number one button in all of the internet. So the action or actions you want them to take is to call and set a consultation up, fill out a lead gen form, or respond to the chat box.
I love it. And this is very interesting that you mentioned that a lot of attorneys are now using the chat box. And the worst thing that can happen, and I've had this happen to me, Josh, is I go on a chat box and then nobody chats back to me. So I would imagine you have to sort of train your attorneys in that particular lead gen opportunity. But those chat boxes are really, really powerful tools, aren't they?
Yeah, yes, and there's multiple providers out there that already do that. We don't do the chat boxes. All we do is use the plug-in on the websites that we build, and that's an entirely separate part of the industry.
See, that's awesome. And again, that goes along with what we teach on the Entrepreneur Spotlight series, that you use plugins, you use other technology, you use world-class, state-of-the-art, other technology and software to help you get to where you want to go, because nobody can be an expert in every single thing like Josh is an expert at helping law firms increase their ROIs. Josh, when we think about the law firm marketing group or the law firm marketing pros, I right now have 3 or 4 attorneys that I want to send your way. What's the process? Do they call you up on the phone? Do they email you? Do they get you or one of your team to sort of walk them through how it all works? What's the process for them?
So right now they're going to if they fill out one of the forms on our website, whether it's any type of free piece of data or whatever, those leads, those names are all coming to me. So they're going to get a personal call from me to set up a 15-minute, what we're going to call, you would think of it as like a discovery call. We call it a client accelerator call. So because we want to accelerate your clients. In that 15-minute call, we're going to discuss where you are today, what's working, what hasn't worked, where you want to be next year, 24 months, 36 months from now. We're going to talk about your revenue. We're going to talk about what your budget expectations are. And from there, if you're comfortable with the fact that you think that I can help your law firm achieve your goals and dreams, and I'm comfortable to think that you're in the right mindset and you're ready to take the next step, what's going to happen is I'm going to go out and do about 2 hours worth of research. Me and my team, we're going to do about 2 hours worth of research, and we're going to create something we call a digital marketing brief, which is going to give it a deep dive analysis into what's happening in your market, where you are compared to your competitors, what your competitors are doing right and wrong. And at the end of that, we'll schedule a 1 hour to 60 to 90 minute digital marketing strategy session. And in that session, we're going to go through the findings and discuss why it's working, why it's not. You're going to learn more about digital marketing and how the internet ecosystem works than most of the SEO companies out there. And at the end of that, we're going to go through a budget and see if there's some way that we can figure out a way that we can help you.
I love that. I mean, that is really an amazing service. You get it from the author of the Ultimate Digital Marketing Guide for Law Firms, Mr. Josh Konigsberg. It's really, really incredible. Josh, what you've been able to do with this specialty and helping so many law firms with their ROI is really, really great. To hear that you have law firms increasing their ROI or their ROI is 400% to, in the thousands of percent with an average ROI of 800% is quite outstanding. Anybody watching the show is going to want to reach out to you and take advantage of this 15-minute discovery call, and then also this 2 hours worth of information that you just really can't get anywhere else. So Josh, people watching, attorneys watching, law firm marketing, internal marketing people that want a little help as well, how do they reach out to you at the Law Firm Marketing Pros, and how do they get started with this really unbelievable opportunity to increase their ROI?
Let me add one thing about that digital marketing strategy session and the digital marketing brief. So we're going to give that's free for the attorneys, and it's valued at about $2,000 worth of work. Okay. So that's one thing I wanted to make clear. So that you can go to lawfirmmarketingpros.com, and in the header section, there's a box that says schedule a free call.
I love it. And that's the action you want them to take, obviously.
That's the action I want them to take. That's right. And browse around the site. There's a lot of cool information. There's some great stories and press releases. And there's some great information on our resources tab. There's some incredible resources. We've got a really cool infographic. We've got a digital marketing checklist for lawyers. You can download the ultimate guide. So check it out. Go to the website, check it out, and schedule that free call with me.
Wow, what a great value proposition, a report valued at $2,000 just for making the call. Listen, I love what you're doing, Josh. We always talk about specializing in a space. You've been able to do it. You've been able to become one of the really worldwide leaders in law firm marketing. And I wanted to thank you so much for slicing out some time today. This has been very enlightening and really, really important information for those law firms wanting to really knock the cover off the ball. So thanks for being on the show.
Hey, Andy, thanks for inviting me. Really appreciate everything that you're doing over there at DotCom Magazine. Real happy that you've made this revival. It's awesome.
Thank you so much.